Today we are talking about having godly courage. That means with God's help, you can face fear or danger of pain without showing fear. Maybe you're afraid of the dark. Going into a dark room by yourself because you know God is with you even though you're scared, that is using courage. When you have courage because you trust God, you will be able to do things that you didn't think you could. Today's Bible story is about Nehemiah. Nehemiah was a very courageous leader because he always trusted God. That didn't mean he was never afraid. It meant that he would face his fears knowing God would take care of him. Nehemiah had an important job. He was cupbearer to the king. This meant he was the king's most important employee. And King Artaxerxes loved and cared about Nehemiah. Nehemiah was an Israelite. His hometown was Jerusalem for many years of his life. But working for the king in Persia meant he was no longer in Jerusalem. He was far away, but it would always be home in his heart. One day, he heard that the city of Jerusalem was falling apart. Enemies had torn down the city walls and burned down the gates and were constantly attacking the Jews. This made Nehemiah sad. So Nehemiah did what any courageous man of God should do when bad things are happening. He prayed. He went to God and prayed for days before he did anything else. God would give Nehemiah courage to help Jerusalem. He had to have courage to tell the king what was happening to the city. When the king heard, he gave permission for Nehemiah to go back home, and that's not all. The king provided all the building materials needed to build the walls. God was in this with Nehemiah, and Nehemiah knew it. He praised God continually and always told his enemies that God would help him defeat them. He also told the Jewish people that God was with them. Finally, they began to build the walls. Nehemiah told them to trust God and to fight for their families. So they worked and built with one hand while holding their swords in the other. So they were ready to battle if any enemy attacked. God was working with them to save Jerusalem. They didn't just pray and lay down to rest. They prayed and kept working, knowing God was fighting with them. Nehemiah's enemies tried to stop them. Leaders from the enemy nations sent letters inviting Nehemiah to come and have dinner with them. But Nehemiah prayed and could tell that they were all tricks to get him away from building the wall. He told them, "No, I am doing an important thing for God and I can't come down from this wall." He told enemies this every time they tried to trick him. Now that takes courage. He knew that God was with him, and because of that, he'd be okay. 56 days after they started building the walls, they were finished. Only 56 days to rebuild huge walls around the city. The enemies saw the new walls and were afraid. They knew that only God could do this. God would use his people to defeat the enemies and take back their city. Nehemiah was courageous because he trusted God. So what about you? Do you need God's courage for some fear or struggle that you have? I hope you said yes, because you do. God can make you stronger and help you get through any tough situation. You have to work with him and trust that he'll give you the courage to face your fears. Here are 3 take-home steps to help you have godly courage in tough situations. Take 1. Pray immediately when you are scared. Take 2. Talk to God while in the middle of scary situations. Take 3. Take the next step knowing God is with you. Go to God for courage this week. He is with you and he can help. Until next time, treat others the way you want to be treated.